Children, I will be taking up the lesson Deep Water, which is contained in the main literature reader Flamingo. I am reading the introduction on page number 23. About the author. Children, the author William Orville Douglas, his full name, and he was born on October 16, 1898, and he passed away on January 19, 1980. He was an American jurist and politician and served as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. So, his profession, he was a lawyer, he was a jurist and also a politician. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, children, this extract, the lesson that we are going to read is an extract, and it has been taken as an autobiography. It is an autobiography by William Douglas. Now, what do you understand by an autobiography? If I break the word autobiography, children, auto means self, bio means life, and graphy means writings. So, William Douglas has given us an account of his own life, a part of his childhood. It is an account of his childhood experience, and this is contained in his autobiography of Men and the Mountains, and the lesson that we are going to read is an extract from this very autobiography. Let's move on to the next slide. It talks about the author, children. William Douglas, he was born in Maine. After graduating with a Bachelor's of Arts in England and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching high school. Okay, he has also worked as a teacher in Yakima. However, he got tired of this profession and decided to pursue a legal career. Okay, legal career, I hope you all understand. He met Franklin D. Roosevelt at Yale. Now, who is Franklin D. Roosevelt? President, children. Okay, Franklin D. Roosevelt, we will be reading about him in the chapter also, don't worry. Okay, at Yale, and became an advisor and friend to the president. He retired in 1975 with a term lasting 36 years and remains the longest serving justice in the history of the court. The following excerpt, children, is taken from his autobiography of Men and Mountains by William Douglas. It reveals how, as a young boy, William nearly drowned in a swimming pool. In this essay, he talks about his fear of water and thereafter how he finally overcomes it. Children, please underline. In this essay, he talks about his fear of water and thereafter how he finally overcame it. Notice how the autobiographical part of the selection is used to support his discussion of fear. Okay, children, now because it is an autobiography, you have to notice the use of the personal pronouns. He has entered into a conversation with himself, and that time we need to notice the pronouns that have been used. Let us move on to the next slide. Okay, this is again a gist over here. It is an excerpt from William Douglas's autobiography of Men and the Mountains. It is a psychological analysis of the author's fear of water, which plagued him since his childhood. Yes, now this is a psychological analysis. What do you mean by a psychological analysis? It gives us a peep into the mental makeup, what the author was experiencing while he encountered that incident during his childhood. Now, that plagued him for a very long time. Plagued him means he was inflicted by it, he remained affected by it for a very long time. As a young boy, Douglas had certain experiences which crippled him to such an extent that he was unable to enjoy any water related activity. Now that fear, children, it had a very big impact on him. So much was the impact that it crippled him to an extent that he just could not enjoy any water sport. Okay. The story describes in detail how Douglas dealt with his fear and overcomes it. So, this is very important, children, that how Douglas fights his fear and overcomes it. So, this is just a gist, children, the main points that I have covered. The story describes in detail how Douglas dealt with his fear, which was becoming a debilitating phobia. Yes, it was making him handicapped, it was crippling him, it was not letting him enjoy the various water sports which were once his favorite, and that was becoming like a phobia. It talks of his conscious and deliberate attempts to conquer his fear of water. Children, various portions of the chapter we will find that he has entered into a conversation with himself wherein he is trying to defeat the fear. Now, these are his own ways to overcome fear, to defeat it. For example, sometimes it so happens that we keep telling ourselves that nothing will happen. Keep walking, walking. Even if you feel that, somebody is following you, you tell yourself, no, nobody is there. Keep walking. Don't look back. So, these are all ways to cope up with that fear. So, in the same way, Douglas, he talks of his conscious and deliberate attempts, that what efforts did he make in order to conquer the fear of water. It realistically describes how Douglas uses his willpower and determination to defeat my terror. Now, Mr. Terror. Now, Mr. Terror over here has been personified. We will read in the chapter that how Douglas enters into a conversation with the with this terror. Okay, he has personified terror as if it's his enemy who is trying to pull him down, and he keeps telling himself, he keeps motivating himself that, hey, you cannot defeat me, Mr. Terror. I will not bow down in front of you. So, this is how he motivates himself. Okay. Let's move on to the summary, children. Now, it is a line wise summary. I know you are not able to see. I will be sharing this with you, so don't worry. Okay. I hope now you are able to see. William Douglas had a desire to learn swimming since childhood. Now, in the very onset of the chapter, you will read that he was very fond of water and the water related sports. So, from the very childhood, children, he wanted to learn swimming. At the age of 3 or 4, he was knocked down and buried by a wave at a beach in California. Now, what happened? This was the childhood incident that left a very big impact on him. He was knocked down and buried by a wave at a beach in California. So, this incident took place in California. He developed a great aversion to water. Aversion means, children, a phobia. He started repelling water, aversions, kept away or started repelling water. At the age of 10 or 11, he decided to learn how to swim. So, at such a young age, children, at 10 or 11, he had decided to learn to swim with water wings at the YMCA beach. Yes. So, how did he learn to swim? He was learning to swim by using all the paraphernalias that were required. Children, when I say paraphernalias, it means that, the specific equipments that are required to do some specific activity. You have read this word before also, children. In grade 7 also you have read this word paraphernalia. For example, if it's the monsoon season, what are the paraphernalias associated with it? Of course, gum boots, your raincoat, umbrella, these are all the paraphernalias. Okay, whatever instruments or whatever things are associated with that particular activity. Here the activity is of course keeping yourself away from water, not to let yourself get wet in the rain. Okay, a misadventure while sitting alone. Now what was the misadventure, or what was that incident that took place which left an impact on him? It was a misadventure. Children, please note this word, a misadventure while sitting alone and waiting for others to come at the YMCA pool. Now because he was a beginner and he was not very confident about swimming, so he used to wait for the others to come at the pool, and then seeing them he would gain some courage and then enter the pool. So he was waiting for others to come. Okay, now one side of the pool, it was quite deep. Now one end of the pool, it was quite deep. And what was the misadventure? A strong boy, he came and ducked Douglas into the water. He picked him up and he put him into the water, and that too at the deeper end. Douglas swallowed water and went straight down to the bottom of the pool. Now he was not prepared for it. It suddenly happened, and hence he went straight down to the bottom of the pool, gulping and swallowing much water. So you can understand what must have happened to that little boy. Okay. While going down, he planned to make a big jump upwards, but came up slowly. Now, while he was going down, he kept his cool. He was calm, he was composed, and he was taking the right decision. What was his plan? That he would kick himself up the moment his legs touched the bottom of the swimming pool. He would push himself up and he would successfully come out. While going down, okay, stark terror seized him. But then what happened? There was terror that had taken a complete control over the author. Children, this chapter is situational. You have to learn exactly the incidents, and when the questions are asked, you have to produce the exact incident. So you have to learn it by heart, because this chapter is situational. Questions which come in the exam are all situational. Okay, now he goes down, children, thrice. Every time what happens, what his experience was, it has been described in the chapter. You have to learn it by heart. He tries to shout, but he could not. As he went down the pool second time, he tried to jump upwards, but it was a waste of effort. So he did try to jump up, but in vain. He could not come out. Of course, children, it was a deep pool, 9 feet it says, and he was just 9 to 10 years old. So how much courage could he muster? With how much force could he push himself out, right? So terror held him deeper and deeper, and because 2 of his attempts of coming out failed, it was only terror that seized him, that had a complete control over him. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. During the third trial, he sucked water instead of air. Now he tried for the third time, children, and this time what happened? There wasn't any water that he took in, but it was not air that he could gulp in, but it was water that he sucked in. So during the third trial, when he tried to come out, he sucked water instead of air. So his nose or his mouth would just touch the surface of the water, children, but he could not completely come out. So this happened twice. Now in the third trial, he just could not even touch the surface of the water. Light was going out and there was no more panic. So he ceased all efforts and he became unconscious. So he gave up his efforts and he became unconscious. He crossed to oblivion. Oblivion means forgetfulness. He did not remember anything. He had given up. He submitted himself that whatever will happen, but I cannot make any more efforts. He had got exhausted. When revived, he found himself vomiting beside the pool. So finally he was rescued, and then he was vomiting beside the pool. He was in grip of fear of water, and it deprived him of the joys of canoeing, boating and fishing. Now this incident, it left an impact on him, and he was now deprived. He developed a phobia for water, and he could not enjoy the water sports of boating, of shipping, of canoeing. Hired an instructor to learn swimming. At one point of time, he thought enough is enough. I'm actually wasting my life, keeping myself away from the enjoyments of life, keeping myself away from what I desire and wish to do is a waste. I'm just wasting all my time. So what did he do? He decided to overcome his fear. For that, he hired an instructor and he learned swimming. The instructor taught him swimming piece by piece. Now this word piece by piece is also important, and it comes as an important question in the exam also, children. So we will be doing it in detail. He went to different lakes, and after he was able to put all the pieces together and come out as a whole, as a perfectionist, he tried different lakes to swim and found tiny vestiges of fear still gripping him. Vestiges means residues, children. While he was trying, now this was just a swimming pool where he had learned how to swim. Now when he had to expose himself to the challenging lakes and situations of the sea, he could see that the fear was returning to him in residues. He challenged the fear and swam. So here, he used to enter into a conversation with the fear, and he addressed him as Mr. Terror. And he used to motivate himself by saying that I'm not afraid of you. What can you do to me? Swimming up and down the warm lake, he finally overcame his fear of water. So finally, he overcame his fear by constantly practicing and motivating himself. He realized that in death there is peace and there is terror only in the fear of death. Very, very important lines. When we will be reading the chapter, I will be explaining it to you and it will become clear, because we have to understand the whole context in which this sentence has been said. Will to live is stronger than fear of death. And why does this happen? Because we all have that will to live, which is much stronger than the fear of death. Children, death is the biggest fear we have. If we are able to overcome that fear, we are completely a changed personality. There is nothing impossible for us then. Here again you can think of that chapter, The Summit Within, wherein Mr. Ahluwalia gave his account of reaching the highest point of Everest. What does he say? That now I am a changed man altogether. I have a different perception towards life. I value life all the more. Isn't it? So there are many values also that one can learn from this lesson, children. In the next class, I shall be taking up the line by line detailed explanation of the lesson. Thank you, class.